It's a blue North Carolina sky, wonderful afternoon, hot. But speaking to all my Vincy people and people in the Caribbean, we're used to this. Wanted to come on today, and I'm not going to talk about what y'all think I should or could or, have a duty almost to talk about. I want to talk about the fact that I just drove a couple hours to pick up gear. This is a donation of gear from a friend, Coach Ted, from a local college. This stuff has been sitting in the storage room. Nobody's going to use it. As you can see, not worn. Not dirty or dingy. Just uniforms. They just happen to wear them for 2 seasons, and then, like most schools, they switch over to something else. So most schools have closets. Most colleges and high schools have closets full of this stuff, which is just sitting there. So I drove from where I lived, drove for a round trip about 3 hours altogether to go pick up this stuff. And I mentioned that not to say I'm doing the work. I'm doing it. I'm saying it because it's not that difficult. I'm showing you that stuff because that is the culmination of relationship building and a level of trust that people have in me that I've earned by doing the work. I was a college coach for 5 years. I played college, Division I University, North Carolina State University. Since I've been in this community in Raleigh since 1994 when I was a freshman, to the first year I started coaching in fall of 1998, I've built a level of trust and belief in what I am and what I do. And for that, people are willing to simply give me the things that you're not using, and I will, for sure, put it to good use for the kids that want to play in my country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but don't have this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or any of this shit that is free. Free, not just to me. Free to mostly anybody who wants to get off their butt and go ask people in their community for it. Communities in the first world, let's say. The United States, Canada, Europe. In this case, obviously, when you're talking about Caribbean folks, you're talking really Great Britain. But it ain't that hard. Once you sincerely do this, and I've been doing this since 2009, so over a decade, and you do it consistently and earnestly, and you put some stuff online, on Facebook, on Instagram, showing that you're serious about this work, then that level of trust is easier to maintain. It doesn't take a lot of energy for me to just talk to people and say, at this point, I don't have to talk. I simply show what we've done. Videos from 2011, videos from 2012, 14, 15, 16, pictures. People go online and say, boy, people are just up here parading what they're doing. No, I'm promoting what I'm doing for the kids in my country because that's the only way they're going to get the things they need. I bring up this stuff to say one of the reasons I started Adare 360, my soccer nonprofit, do soccer camps, free soccer camps in Barely every summer. Not for the past couple of years because of pandemic, volcano, and 3 years ago the birth of my daughter, which I'm not going to leave. So I haven't been home in 3 summers, and I miss it. I miss it dearly. And I know the kids want this. They need this. They desperately, desperately want this. And they find value in not just what I'm doing, but what anybody can choose to do for them. So there was a press release yesterday, 23 concerns, written by the brave men and boys on the St. Vincent Senior Men's National Team. Words that I've heard for 25 years as somebody who played on Team SVG. The last time we advanced to the Gold Cup, we played in January 1996. The very thing that these boys are being asked to do, which is a tough task, it's already been done. I was thankfully invited to be part of a group that did that. I'm sure most of the people who might be watching this have no idea. No idea. And if you don't, so this is what I also do. I don't wait for people to tell my story. I understand I have the capability of telling my own story. All of us do. We sometimes just don't take the time to do it, or we don't think we can. Of course you can. Y'all are on Instagram all day long. You're all on Facebook all day long, on Twitter all day long. You're telling your story all the time. Choose something worth telling. The story of the 1995-1996 St. Vincent and the Grenadines men's senior national team is worth telling because it's historic. It's the first time a small island ever advanced to a major FIFA tournament. And I don't think the football in public recognizes or realizes the value of what happened, how it happened, in the midst of absolute nothingness. If you read the 23 concerns that these fellas had, and they're all legitimate, the guys that I played with, the guys that played before me, the guys that have been on the team since the day it started in 1979, we all have the same issues. All of us. And I heard Too Cool Chris talking to Cornelius Stewart yesterday on the radio, and he had no idea who Cornelius Stewart is, and that's part of the problem. I mean, it doesn't sound like he's a sportsman, Too Cool Chris, and he really had a tough time believing, rightfully, if these men is kicking your ass and not treating you like men, why? He had a hard time understanding why folks like me, Cornelius Stewart, Fitz Bramble, Marlon James, Rodney Jack, Kendall Velox, why we would choose to do this if we're getting kicked in the mouth for it. And I'm not going to give you some bullshit about country because I have an issue with what it means, I think, in the minds of most people to be Vincentian. I think most people don't have an idea. Not your fault. Not anybody's fault. We don't have an idea because it's tough to have an idea if there's not a national identity and a history of promoting it. But that's another issue. But what these guys, Chris, are doing and why they keep going back is because it's their only opportunity to be seen. So, Chris, if Hot 97 was the only radio station in town, you couldn't do it anywhere else. You couldn't do the wonderful job you do in the morning that I listen to, all the way up here in North Carolina. You couldn't do that but on Hot 97. No other radio station in St. Vincent would give you an opportunity because they're poorer. They're not as good. You want to be there because that's where the audience is. And no other island has the radio station for you, and you're certainly not going to get to the United States because you're not big enough. Nobody knows who you are. So your only opportunity is to get on Hot 97 in the morning and do what you love doing. You would take the graveyard shift, Chris. You would be on at 3 o'clock in the morning because you love what you do, and you would kill to be there. Because it's the only opportunity for you to do what you love doing. And that's what these boys are talking about. I don't think you fully understand that. And I would absolutely love to get on the radio with you because I think in the end, for what this country needs in terms of promoting our football, and more importantly, the boys and girls who play it and whose lives can be transformed by it, not by getting a contract somewhere, but simply by getting an opportunity to show themselves who they are as human beings, to do something that feels good for them and get better at it, and hopefully get a chance to get a scholarship someplace in the United States to study and make a better life for themselves. So, I mean, I'm sorry, and it's football's fault for you not knowing who Cornelius Stewart is, because he's a professional football player playing in the Maldives. And he's been doing a wonderful job at it for the past 10 years, and he's a wonderful example for the kids in our country. I understand the story is salacious. And today you guys are on to Bill Cosby, and tomorrow will be whatever Hot Topic Extra or Entertainment Tonight or Hollywood Blog is going to talk about. That's the nature of morning radio. I get it. But I would love to continue the conversation, because it's a serious conversation about a sport that most of the kids in this country want to play. And we can get 10 to 20 high school, secondary school graduates off the island every single year to get an opportunity to go to some college in North America based on their ability to play the sport. And as you read, and I thank you guys, salacious or not, informative or not, for at least putting the concerns of these boys, and by extension, the concerns of all the boys and girls who play this sport in St. Vincent, on blast. AM mayhem. I don't want mayhem. I want maturity and answers. So once the conversation got started, I would love to continue it for 10, 15 minutes to see what can be done. And I'm not there to talk about the federation. I don't care. If, since the inception of our football, the same issues have been going on, then obviously they have no idea what they're doing. They never have. But like Cornelius Stewart said, we play for, maybe not for country, but we certainly play for our families. We play for our own personal pride. And we play for family in the sense of the people that have gone through the shit that we have to deal with. Those 23 things. And trust me, there are hundreds more. We play for each other, despite all those things. Because we love this, the same way you love the radio. We love this thing. The same way I'm driving 3 hours to pick up some clothes because I need to make sure that the kids in St. Vincent who want to play, they have the things that they need to do it. Nobody's asking me to do it. And as you can probably guess, Chris, I wouldn't have to do it if the federation was. And they're tasked to do it. That's one of the jobs, one of the most important jobs they have, to continue this wonderful sport, to make sure it's promoted, to make sure that it's done right, to make sure generations of kids have the opportunity to do something they all want to do. I'm going to end it here. Again, I hope I get a chance the same way y'all were ready to get Renson on. I want to get on. And I want Ian Sardine to get on, because that's another name you've got to know, Chris. Ian Sardine. And all the work he's doing, not just for youth football, but for kids in general on our island. And he needs the support. So part of this is for anybody who wanted me to get on here and just blast the federation as if I don't care. You know who I care about? I care about Garwin Davis, the goalkeeper that got left in St. Vincent, because I got a text from the young man saying, Mr. Ash, I don't have a pair of gloves. I might be the goalkeeper against Haiti. I don't have gloves. And we're about to go to Florida. All right, Garwin, no problem. And I get back to the relationships, and I bring the word up, relationships and trust. I call an old college teammate of mine. He was a goalkeeper. He lived somewhere in Miami. I said, this is the situation. You're in Miami. These guys are going to be close to Miami. You know more about goalkeeping and gloves and things like that. Can you get this man a pair of gloves? So he does. Monday. This is the address of the hotel where they'll be staying at. Would you mind dropping off those gloves there so when he shows up on Wednesday, when they're scheduled to be in Plantation, Florida, at their hotel, I can surprise him and just, here's the gloves that you wanted. So you feel happy about the job that you've been asked to do. All that happened because of relationship building. The issues and concerns that the players have from 1979 to 2021 are about relationship building. I got all this shit back here in my storage unit because of relationship building. I earned the trust of the people who gave me this stuff. I earned the trust of Garwin Davis, who recognized after 10 years that if I say I'm bringing stuff for them, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to talk about it, but I am talking about it if you're really listening. Life is about people's skills and the connections you have with them. You don't do stuff. You mitigate relationships between human beings so that stuff can get done. That is the failure. It's an abject failure. And it's been a failure since the beginning. I implore you, anybody, this is not self-promotion, but maybe it is. I did a podcast talking to the people, the players, and talking to Ian Sardine, Arnold Dalrymple, and Coach Lenny Taylor, who are the three folks I think were mainly responsible for our success in the 1995-96 football campaign. To me, the greatest thing St. Vincent has ever done, and we're trying to do it again. Listen to it. There'll be a link underneath this. Go listen to it. Learn your history so we recognize we're not trying to do the impossible. We've done this thing before. And for anybody else, put in the work. Stop texting, stop writing, stop complaining. Do the work. Go get shit for the kids in St. Vincent. Send it to them. If you don't know how to send it to them, send it to me. If you don't know how to do it, ask me how it's done. Stop bitching, stop moaning, and change it. Don't rely on the people who have never changed anything. Change the system. And I'm ready to support anybody who is. And hopefully you hear in my voice and you all are ready to support somebody who's willing to put in the time to do it. Fellas, good luck. Tomorrow it's going to be a hell of a task. Do the best you can and we're